We're going to be talking right now with Bob Chapman, our favorite. And if I don't have him on at least every other week, boy, I mean, you all get restless because you want to hear from Bob Chapman, who is the editor of the financial newsletter called The International Forecaster. You can get a copy of it if you're the only person in the world that hasn't gotten a copy of it yet by calling 877-479-8178. That's 877-479-8178, or go to theinternationalforecaster.com. It's my pleasure to introduce Bob Chapman. Thank you for joining us again today, Bob Chapman on the Power Hour.
Well, it's just great to be here, and Judy and I just had our Strauss Hot Drops, and I bartered some goat meat from Jason, so we had goat meat for breakfast.
Well, you're doing all the right things. That's good.
Well, at least I'm listening.
Yeah, you are. You're listening. Man, you are listening. Hey, you know those Strauss Heart Drops? I forgot to take mine. I think that they are so important. I got up at 12:30 when I woke up and took my Strauss Heart Drops because I'd forgotten to take it before I went to bed. I firmly suggest you take it before you go to bed and not have it linger in your mouth as you are sleeping. But, you know, if you can get past the taste, which anybody can, the result of them is so amazing. And I know, why do you take yours, for instance? Let me just ask you. You didn't have any diagnosed health problems. Why did you take it?
As a preventative, and that's why for 45 years I've been doing vitamins, minerals, herbs, hormones, the whole works. And I've done chelation for about 25 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You sound like
and
a young...
And that's why I'll be 74 in a couple of months, and, you know, I work 16, 18 hours a day. I played golf yesterday, not bad either. And, you know, I don't have any ailments that I know about.
You sound like a real young man. I would guess you're in your 40s.
You can tell, Mr. Strauss, thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess so. Ladies and gentlemen, they do work. I don't know how. I don't know why. They do work. Anyway, we're so thrilled to have you on today because Colonial Bank had a bit of a dive, didn't they? Do you know anything more about the story on Colonial Bank that went under this past week?
No, I do not. And there were a few more after that. That was Thursday. And then they had 2 or 3 more. I think we're up to 77 or something like that. But there's other banks that are being absorbed that you're not being told about, because I've had bankers tell me that. And we've had letters in the forecaster from subscribers who have those kind of connections that said, yeah, I talked to the banker and this is what he said. And so it's an ongoing thing. We're no closer to solving the credit crisis than we were 2 years ago. And what they're doing is saying that everything's going to be okay and we're going to have a recovery, and that's just not true. And the reason it's not true is the underpinnings of a financial and economic structure have been torn asunder by the greed or the planning of the people in banking and on Wall Street, and to enrich themselves and make themselves more powerful to lead us into their world government.
Well, what happened with the Nikkei yesterday, which dropped 300 points? What was that, 2 or 3%? And the stocks are scheduled to go down all over the world. What's happening in the market that's creating that? I thought that the recession was over and happy times are here again.
Well, first of all, the U.S. market is trading at 24 times trailing earnings, and in this kind of environment, it should be trading at 8 to 10 times trailing earnings. So that means the market.
Explain that for people who are not into the financial market. What does that mean?
Well, you multiply the earnings times the price of the stock, and if the stock is making $1 a share, and so it's trading at 10 times earnings, if in fact it's selling for $10 a share. And so instead of selling for 10, the issue is selling for $24. And so in order to return to reality, the stock should fall to $10 unless earnings are going to be substantially better in the coming year, which is not the case. And even if they are better, they can't be that better. Not normally, not across the board.
Okay.
And so the underpinnings have been slashed. I know at the Bilderberger meeting in June, they said, look, this thing's out of control. We got to bring it to a halt. I don't think they can do it. And this is what they're up to right now. They're not going to stop spending money. In fact, I projected in January that we were going to have, another stimulus package this coming year. And lo and behold, they're talking about it very strongly, even Joe Stiglitz last week, who's an eminent economist. And so they're going to go to Congress. I think they're going to be looking for $2 trillion this time. And I don't think Congress is going to give it to them.
Well, now why is it they're making such an issue over the fact that the money has not been spent, or at least Fox News says the money from the previous bailout has not been spent yet, only 10% of it? Why do they talk about that, or why would they not have spent it?
On the face of it, that's true. But what they're not telling you, and what Fox does not know, and what I suspect, and I can't get any figures on this because the Federal Reserve says it's a state secret. Mm-hmm. What they did is the Federal Reserve created $500 billion that we know about. Goodness knows how much more they did. Mm-hmm. And they lent it to 5 major banks in the world. For that, they got foreign currencies. So they gave them the dollars, and they got back foreign currencies. Ostensibly, this swap was because they, the Fed, wanted to defend the dollar. So if you sell the foreign currencies that the Fed had bought, if you sell them into the market, what happens is the dollar goes stronger. But they're doing something else as well that they're not telling us about.
Which is what?
And that is the dollars that are being held by those major banks are being used to buy U.S. Treasury paper secretly in the market.
Now, explain that, because China was buying.
The Fed creates money. The Fed trades it with major central banks. They get their foreign currencies, five countries, and they give them dollars. So when they want to make the dollar strong, they sell the foreign currencies, making them go down and making the dollar versus them go up. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then what they're doing, they told you about that. They told you they were going to do that. But what they're doing as well that they're not telling you about is they're having those central banks go into the market or go directly to Treasury auctions more than anything else. And they will go to the Treasury and buy that paper. And that's why the numbers for the amount of bonds that are being bought by foreign central banks has catapulted upward because the Fed gave them the money. Mm-hmm. So they don't tell you about that.
Well, what do you foresee then as far as, because you've been the one person who's been talking most that I have read about a bank holiday. Where do you see this? Now, Josh just handed me, he just looked up and he said that 45 bank failures occurred between 1 January of 2009 and 26 June of 2009. 45 bank failures. The other 30 bank failures have occurred in the last month. Now, if that is true,
75?
Right to 77, yeah. So 45 occurred between 1 January and 26 June. That's what they're not telling us. And then the rest, to bring it up to 77, occurred in the last month. That is right.
It's accelerating by about 50%.
Right.
But, look, I was the one who come out and said, I think that on the USDX, the dollar is going to go from 89.5 to 71.18 by the end of October, at least by the end of the year. I also said that there would be a lot of turmoil with people not voluntarily taking these shots. I also said that I thought that the government would run a beta test on the public by closing the bank, say, from a Thursday night to a Tuesday morning, a very short bank holiday, to see the reaction of the people. This would be a trial run for a later problem. I said that is possible and probable, but I don't know what the government's going to do. It's just it's something that they might do. So everybody else climbed on the bandwagon since it's going to be August 9th and August 15th and August 24th and September the 8th. And then they brought in numerology and said this is a good day for the Illuminati to do it and such a day. And nobody knows, and I think they're all guessing, just like I was when I said it. And they're going through these gymnastics mentally on something that may never happen. It's possible.
Well, we have a problem on our hands.